Editing and formatting table. So now we're going to edit and format a table. And this is the different things that we're going to do in the formatting, which looks quite lengthy, and it is, but we'll do it step by step, just like we always do. So if you wanted to move a table to a new location, you could click on the table to display it and use the move handle and then drag it to move it around. Okay? We really don't need to move our table around, but if we wanted to, we would just click on this little button here and we have a four-way arrow to move it. But it doesn't tell us to move it, so it just says if we wanted to. Okay, now we're going to change the column width. Position the insertion point somewhere in the table to be formatted. So I'm going to click it here. And then when I do that, I have a table design button that pops up and a layout button. Okay, table design and table layout. So now I can do some stuff with the table. See here, double click the column boundary so that where it adjusts the column width. So we're going to automatically um, column width adjustment. So I'm going to get the left and right arrow and then double click it. And when I do that, it automatically adjusts the table, the column width. Okay. So position the pointer on the column boundary. Oh, I already did that. I'm looking at mine and that, and it's not the right bullet, or not list, right list. So let me undo this. This is the list we're supposed to be doing that way. Okay, double click. Okay, see it didn't match. I knew something was wrong, so I've done that now. So I double click the column A, and now it has auto fit it. So now we're on the right one. Drag the column boundary so that where it adjusts the column width so the column heading wraps two lines. So we're looking at the second column now, and we have maximum capacity. So we're going to drag this to where it wraps to two lines, maximum, and then capacity is on the next line. And don't worry about getting exactly my line because we're going to change it in a second. Click the Table Tools layout on the ribbon. When we click on the Table Tools layout on the ribbon, it's going to give us a whole bunch of different things to do. So now we can change the width and the height exactly if we want to, which we're going to do on the next page. So we're going to change the row height first. So it says select the rows to format. In this case, all the rows below the first row. So not the buildings row, but the other ones. So these rows here, I'm going to click and drag to select them. And then I'm going to go row height up here. And it says to make the row height 0.3. So I'm just going to click the up arrow and it should change it to 0.3. Okay. Once it's done, then we're finished with that. Click anywhere in the table to remove the selection and turn the page. Now to apply a table style. So now we're going to apply a table style. And mine doesn't look like this, so I skipped something. Let me go back. I get ahead of myself when I'm talking and doing something at the same time. Okay, I see where I left off. Okay, I did the maximum capacity for the two different lines. Then number 4 says click the Table Tools layout to display the Table Tools layout on the ribbon. We did that and we ended up going to the next page. This was throwing me off. The experiment is just this bullet here. It's a blue. The next part of step 4 is underneath that. So when you finished experimenting, position the insertion point in the first column and then type 1.6. So this is our first column. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to change this to 1.6. Then it says the next column is to be 0.98. So I'm going to select the second column. I'm going to have to type in 0.98 because I don't think it'll do it all by itself. And then the last column, the third column, is 1.06. So I'm going to select the third column and then click up here 1.06. Then I can click somewhere else. Now it looks the right way. Okay. Now turn the page. Now we already did a row height a while ago, so we did the first row and changed the row height to 0.3. No, we didn't change the top row. We changed all of them but the top row to 0.3. Okay, so now we're finished with that page. Next page. Now we're going to apply the table style. So we're going to click on the Table Tools Design tab. Table Tools Design tab's up here. And then we're going to get our table styles, which is here. And it's going to go and tell us to find Grid Table 5 Dark Accent 1. So I'm going to click on the Table Styles drop down. It says Grid Table, so I already know this is the Grid Table area. And dark, that means it's going to be a darker color, so I'm going to start here. That's Grid Table 4. So this must be Grid Table 4. So I must not be at the right one yet. Let's go down 1. This is Grid Table 5. Good, and it's Dark Accent 1. So click on that. That's what I wanted. Um, if the first column checkbox is not checked, make sure you check it. Ours is already checked. That makes the first row or the first column are labels. So it's all going to be dark instead of light, dark, light, dark. Okay. Make sure the remaining check marks match those in the table styles. So ours does. We have headed row, banded rows, and first column. They're all three checked. Turn the page. Align the data in the cells. Now we're going to align the actual data within each of its different boxes or cells. So the leftmost column, we're going to click Align Center Left. So I'm going to hold the mouse over here to select the column and Align Center Left. It's going to be under Layout. Now we have different types of alignment. This is top, this is middle, this is bottom. This whole column's left, this whole column's center, and this whole column is right. So it says align center left. So align center left. Okay. Then it says the second, third columns, it wants us to align center right. So I'm going to select both columns at the same time. And I'm going to go align center right. Okay. That takes care of that. Next page. Now we're going to center the table. The table's on the left side of our piece of paper. See how it's on the left side and there's a whole bunch of blank space on the right? Well, they want us to center the actual table. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the table, somewhere on the table, select it all, and then it wants us to center it, okay, between the left and the right margins. So we're going to click on Home, and we're going to click on Center. We're going to center the whole table. Okay, now it is centered. Centered. Turn the page. Now we're going to sort a table. Remember when we alphabetized a while ago? We're going to alphabetize the building list now. So here is how it does it. We're going to click on the sort button, A to Z. We're going to sort by building because that is our header. And we're going to sort it alphabetically in ascending order. And now it put it in alphabetical order. It went from this to this. Okay, click anywhere in the table to deselect everything. Turn the page. Adding a row to a table. Now we need to add something. We forgot to put something in there. We need to add something. In our case, we want to put a total in there. So with the position insertion point somewhere on the last row of the table, we want to insert a row. Now, if you click on it, you're going to get this little plus sign here. Or if you don't get the little plus sign, you can click on that last row and you can go over here to table design and you can insert a row. Table layout, and you can insert a row below, right here. Insert below. So it inserts a row. The plus sign or insert below. So now we're on this first column, and it wants us to type total space dash space entire site. Now what it's going to do is auto format that dash into a longer dash. It's called an in dash. Total space dash space entire site. tab to go to the next one, and then see how my dash got bigger? It's called an in dash. Okay, and it explains what it is right here. Okay, now it wants us to delete a row. Wait, you don't do this one. It says if you wanted to delete a row. There's some little tricky stuff. These should be different colors. But this is how you would delete a row. But we don't have to delete a row because it says if I wanted to. We don't need to. Turn the page. Now we're going to insert a formula in a table. Okay, we want a total of capacity. So to do that, we're going to insert a formula. Similar to Excel, you all haven't done Excel yet as far as I know. So we're going to do that. So we're going to go to Formulas button. Oops, table design. Where is it? Formula button, table tools layout. I was in the right place. Data, and then formula. Now my insertion point is still in here because I hit tab, remember? So this is where I want my formula. Click on formula. Now it's going to assume what it thinks you want, and it is correct this time. We want the sum of all of the items above this row. Okay, that's correct, but we still need to do one other thing to it. I believe we want to change the number format. No, we're good. Click OK. That puts the total in there for us. Okay, now we're going to go to the last row, the daily rate, and now we're going to put a formula in for the sum as well. Data, formula, the sum, but this time because it's dollars, we want to make it a dollar formula. And the book tells us to use the third one, which is this one right here with the dollar sign. So we're going to click on it, but we're not finished with it because down here it says we want to get rid of the decimal places. So we're going to delete the .00 off of both parts of the formula, off the positive side and the parentheses part, which is the negative side. So if we change our numbers in our table, it'll automatically change the totals too. And we don't have to make any mistakes that way because it's not our math that did it, the computer did the math. Okay, now we have $4,350 is how much the daily rate total would be. Click OK on the formula. We did that. And we have $4,350, and then we also had 625 maximum capacity. Right. Turn the page to change the cell spacing. Now this just gets a little fancier. Right now we don't have any space between our cells, so it's just pretty plain Jane. And if I click off of it or turn off the grid lines, you don't need the grid lines on this, but if you can just barely see some white space because of our table style. So we're going to add some more space to make it look a little bit more presentable. Okay, to do that, we're going to go to cell margins, which is our table tool layout. And cell margins is this button right here. And we're going to be able to put some settings in our margins. So it says allow spacing between cells, allow spacing between cells, and it wants us to put 0.02 spacing. Click OK. And that gives us some space between each of our cells. Turn the page. But that's not all we want to do. Now we want to change the margins in our table cells. Okay? So position the insertion point somewhere in the table, click cell margin button again. And now we want to do the top and bottom boxes to 0.02. And the left and the right, we want 0.1. Left margin, right margin, top margin, bottom margin. Okay? Click OK. And now it gives us a little bit more space in our margins, or on the top and the bottom and the left and the right. It looks like what's in here. It just makes it look a little nicer. You can play around with it if it was your own assignment. To distribute columns, now we're going to distribute the columns. The last step in formatting the available buildings table is to make the width of the second and third column uniform, or the same width. So this is going to show us how to do that. Select the columns to format, the second and third column. Select. Click the Distribute Columns button, which is in the cell size group. I'll do the drop down here. No, that's not it. Let me make it bigger. It's one of these two. the distribute columns button. So I'm going to click on distribute columns, and it's going to make both of them the same width. It's okay to make your ribbon bigger if you need to, just like I did. Sometimes it's hard to find things. So now we've done that. So now we'll turn the page. Now to delete a blank paragraph. We have a blank paragraph in our document. We want to delete it. It's this one right here, uh, below the available buildings table. You see now we have a whole blank page. We don't want a whole blank page, but we want the page break in there. So we're going to delete this line or this paragraph here. Now we have our page break in there, so it breaks the page. And now we have everything here, and we don't have a blank piece of paper in our document. Okay, so turn the page. Now we're going to show grid lines. Now this is our buffet breakfast table and the fees. So we're going to scroll down to our buffet breakfast and fees, and we're going to click on the table itself. And I believe my grid lines is already turned on, but if it wasn't turned on, this is what yours would look like. And probably when you opened it, it looked like this. So you just click on the table, and then click on View Grid Lines. That's in the Layout tab group in the table group. To view the grid line. So now we can see that this is a table. So now we can manipulate the cells because we can actually see the cells. Turn the page. Okay, now to split a table cell. Now what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to split a cell. This cell is too big, it's merged. We want to put it in two different cells, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to click on this cell here. We're going to click on Split Cells dialog box, which is this button right here in our merge. And we want two columns in one row. So we're going to take this cell and we're going to make it into two columns and still one row. Click OK. And now it's put it there. You notice that it made it two even uniform cells. Now if we wanted to split the table, this is what we would do to split the table. But again, this is an if. We don't want to do that. Turn the page. Now we want to move the cell boundary. Our cells don't line up. We have this big old giant cell, and this whole column is just not really good. So we're going to move the cell boundary. So we're going to get between the two cells, and we're going to get the left right arrow, and we're going to drag it over here so it's right exactly even with the other cells below it. So now our column's lined up. Okay. Click on the turn page. Enter text in cells. Now we're going to enter some text in the cells, these two cells. So we're going to do the first one is fee-based options, align at center, and then we're going to go to the next cell, and we're going to align center right, and type in fee per, hit enter, and then type in person. So let's do that real quickly. So center align left after I'm going to type in fee-based options first. Based options. And I'm going to center align left. That's what it already is set on. Then I'm going to click on tab or click on the cell, and it's to center align right, which is this button here. And we're going to type in fee per, hit enter, and then on the second line we're going to type in person. Got it? All right, moving on. Turn the page. Now we're going to distribute the rows, just like we did with the columns. We're going to distribute the rows, so all the rows are even. If you notice the $18 in the lunch menu, it's a pretty wide column, and then the one below it's pretty wide, and then you have bonfire with s'mores, which is a really narrow, short row. So we're going to make all of these rows distributed evenly. So we're going to select the rows, all of them below the column headings, and we're going to distribute the rows. And it should be this button. Nope, that's distribute columns. This is distribute rows. Click on it, and now they're all evenly spaced. Turn the page, just cleaning it up, making it look good. To insert a column, now we're going to need to insert a new column. So we're going to put the insertion point somewhere in the first column of the table. Doesn't really matter which one, just whichever. And then we're going to go to insert to the left. This button here, insert to the left. You can also right click and insert a column to the left, but it'll ask you if it's a column or a row. This one is, you can see it's a column. Okay, so now we've inserted to the left. Now we're going to format those. Again, if I wanted to delete a column, I could delete it, but we're not actually going to delete a column. This is just telling us how to do it. Turn the page. Now we're going to merge table cells. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get rid of some of the cells we don't need. So it says select the cells to merge. In this case, the cells in the first and second column of the first row of the table. So this one right here and this one right here. They want us to merge those two. So we're going to click on merge cells, and now it has merged. Merge. Okay, step 2, merged. Okay, if necessary, click the align center left button. Ours is top center. Now we need to click align left center. Now select the cells to merge, step number 3, and it's the 6 cells in the first column to the left of the dining options. So it's going to be this cell, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6 cells, all of our dining options. So now we're going to click on merge cells again. I'm going to use the quick access toolbar. Merge those cells, and we'll click off of it. So now we have one big giant box. Now, step 5, we want to do the same thing with the bottom 6 cells. So let's click these bottom 6 cells, merge, and now they're merged. Okay, so it looks like this. Turn the page. Change the cell the direction of the text in a cell. So we're going to do this. We're going to type in dining fees in this first cell. Well, the second cell really, but dining fees. And then here's text direction. It tells us to click twice. Okay, and it's going to look like this. So we're going to click text direction once, twice, and it put it this way. Now we need to do alignment. Or do we? No, it did tell us. Oh yeah, here it is. Click align center button to center the row heading. So we're going to click align center. Align center. Now we're going to do the next one, activity fees. So we're going to click on the cell, type in activity fees, and it's going to have us text direction twice again. We'll push it once, push it twice, and then align center as well. Align center. Okay. And it will look just like in here. Click in the table to remove the selected cell. So I'm going to just click somewhere to get rid of the selection. Turn the page. Now it wants us to resize the table columns using AutoFit. Okay. So with the insertion point in the table, click AutoFit button, cell size group to display the AutoFit menu. The AutoFit to contents is what we want to do. So we're going to click on AutoFit to contents. Click on that, and it automatically resized our whole table and AutoFit everything to the contents, the actual data that's in there. So minimum attendees, that's as much space as that column need. Fee per person, that's as much space that column needed. And then the same with these. Turn the page. To change the column width again, we're going to go in and we're going to actually get more specific. So in the minimum attendees, we don't like the way that looks. So we're going to change the width to 0.95. So I'm going to click on the column, and then the width right here, and then put 0.95. Enter, and it changes our minimum attendees to 0.95. Let me redo that. I think I had the wrong column selected. Minimum attendees. Oh, I did it right. And then table design, no, table layout, 0.95. All right, so now that takes care of that. Turn the page. Insert a row and merge cells. So now we're going to insert a row at the top of the table. So to do that, I'm going to select either this first cell, or I can use a little plus sign, and I'm going to put insert above this time. So inserted a row. And then it says to merge all three of the cells together. So we have one big giant cell. So I'm going to click on merge cells. Now I have one big giant cell. It says align center. So I'm going to click align center. And it tells us to type in dining and team building activity fees. Bold the entered text. So I'm going to select the text I just did. Quick access toolbar. I'm going to click the B for bold. And that's done. Turn the page. We're getting close to the end. You see down here? All right, to shade a table cell. In this table, the cell containing the table title and the cells containing the row headers, dining fees, and activity fees are to be shaded orange. Why? Because you want it to complement the other things on our document, including our cover page, headers, and footers. So position the insertion point in the cell to shade, in this case, the title. So I'm going to put my insertion point here. Click the shading arrow in the Table Tools Design, Table Tools group. So Table Tools Design, Table Tools group. We have a shading box. We'll click on it, and it tells us to use orange accent 2 lighter 60. So these are our theme colors. So this is orange accent 2 right here. Now we need to go down to where it says lighter 60. Lighter 40, lighter 60, this one right here. Click on it. So now we have that on there. Now it says position the insertion point to shade the dining fees. And I'm looking for the activity. Oh, down here, activity fees. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to do steps 3 and 4 at the same time. I'm just going to select this column here, and I have them all selected, and I'm going to go to shading, and I'm just going to click on the bucket now because it's already the color I want. Now your colors may look different than mine depending on your screen resolution, the screen style, the color settings, everything else, but just make sure that it's the one that it said, that color accent to lighter, or orange accent to lighter 60. And mine looks real similar to what's in the book, but yours may look just a little different than the book. That's all right. The grader will automatically know that. And I got kicked out. Let me go back in. Okay, so whatever reason I got kicked out, I'm back in now. So to change a row height is the next step after we shaded our dining fees and activity fees. So it says position the insertion point in the row to format. In this case, the row containing the title. This one right here. And we want to go to layout, and it wants to go to point 34 is the height. It won't let me do it by clicking the up and down arrow, so I'm just going to type in 0.34 off of it, and it makes the height the correct way. And turn the page. Now it's to hide the grid lines. We want to see what it's going to look like when we print it. So we're going to hide the grid lines. So we're going to go back to our table, select our table, table design, table layout, and select view grid lines and turn it off. And that's what it would look like. It doesn't look too happy, pleasant, and everything. So let's see what it's going to tell us to do. Turn the page. It wants us to add a table border. So we're going to select our table again, select the whole thing. And we want to go to Table Tools Design tab. And it wants us to display the borders gallery. So I'm going to do the borders and do the drop down and click on borders and shading. It says click all because we want all of them, so all of the borders done. And it wants us to click on the double line. So we're going to drop down and find the double line. And then the color, we want blue accent 1. So color, blue accent 1. So that's blue gray. This is blue accent line. So we're going to click on that and click OK. And it's going to make it look like this. Okay. And then it's going to make it look like that. See all of our blue? Turn the page. Now the last thing we're going to do is to create a watermark. A watermark is back in the day when we used to use printer paper and then in typewriters, the paper actually had a watermark built onto it. It came from the company that way. It just kind of showed that it was a authentic document. Now it's just more decorative, if anything. Okay, so we're going to just put it behind the text in the document. Okay, so we're going to turn the page and do it. It's pretty easy. Click the View tab. Let's see here. We're going to do multiple pages so we can see the watermark on all of our pages. So let's see here. Show. No, zoom. Multiple pages. So now we're going to see all three of our pages here. Turn the page. Now to create a watermark, we're going to go to the Design tab. And then over here on our page background, we have a watermark button. We'll click on watermark. We're not going to use the pre-built ones in. We're going to go to, hold on. Should have it where I can type it in. Let me click on something. There we go. Watermark. There we go. I don't know what I had selected, but I had to have my insertion point in my document. So watermarks. Now it gives me custom watermark. So I click on custom watermark. We're going to do a text watermark, which is right here, text watermark. The next button says to select the text and type in team. So text watermark, our text is right here. We'll type in the word team, T-E-A-M, all capitalized. Then it says click horizontal to specify the direction. Most often it's a diagonal across like this, but we want it horizontally. So we're going to go to layout and horizontal. I'll leave the other stuff set the way it is. And then we're going to click on apply and then close. So apply and see the watermark is back behind it, and then click on close. So it's in there. Okay, turn the page. Now we're going to spell check. Then after we spell check, and in the book it says spelling and grammar button, but it's not that anymore. They've updated Word since they published this book, so I'm going to show you that. And then we're not going to print it, or at least this instructor doesn't want you to print it. We just want you to save it and upload it to your SAM. So I'm going to walk you through those two steps as well. All right, so review, and now it's called the editor. So I'm going to click on editor, and it gives us 100%. We don't have any spelling or grammar errors, and the other things is here too, but it just tells us to do spelling and grammar check, and we looked and they're checked. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the editor now, and now we're going to save our document. So I'm going to click on the save button, super important. Now I'm going to go into my SAM textbook project, and I'm going to upload this assignment. So click on start. We've already downloaded the files. We've already worked on the file. We've already saved it. Now we're going to upload it. So this is what it's supposed to be called. SCWD4 Employee Retreat Sales Proposal _ with your name. So I already have mine saved that way. I'm going to make sure it's saved that way. So I'm going to go back here to save as, and it's in there just like that. So we'll click on save.